Welcome to Odds.com's NCAA basketball coverage with our expert, Maxwell Smart. What a week you are on right now. We came into this week. We know it's a roller coaster ride. You're a volume bettor. We came into this week down 6.9 units. On Monday, you went 4-1 plus 2.9 units. So far today, you are 8 wins and 3 losses plus 4.7 units. You have San Diego State. They're up 13 points. You have them. Let me just double check what you have them at. You have them at plus. Let me grab it. Plus 4.5. You also have the under 146.5, and that is also looking very good. Max, you are up 7.6 units. I don't believe in jinxing. I don't believe in that bullshit. But you could very easily be up just under 10 units this week on the show in less than 30 minutes. How's that feel?
Jim, for me, this really isn't much of a surprise because I know and see and record every bet that I make. So I see how I get really involved in a game. I see how a game will kill me. I see how a game will bring me to glory and to the ladies of the night. Well, at least through the picks on the show so far this week, the ladies of the night are going to see me, and they may see me more than once. So this is normal for me. You and I have done this show now for a couple years already, and I've gotten used to the swings of it because in the end, I know for me personally, while I may have to come on and face some nonsense from our social media friends because I'm down 6.9 or I'm down 4, but I know in the end I will be up. I'll be up a good amount, and for the volume I put in, the percentage will be good. If I can bring out 10% ROI with my style for any person that tails every single bet that I make, well, then I think that's a mission accomplished.
Max, as your friend and your fan, fuck yeah, Maxie. I love it. I love it. You're now sitting 39 and 35, hitting at 52.7% plus 0.70 units, ROI plus 0.95%, average line minus 110, and we are looking good with 2 spots. Last game on the board right now, San Diego State, Arizona State. Max, let's get right to work. No rest for the wicked. Enough ass slapping, although you deserve it. And I hope that whatever lady of the night you decide to endeavor with next. Well, okay, let's just move on here. This week, Max, 12 wins, 4 losses, plus 7.6 units. As I said, could be up 9.6 units in a matter of minutes. Max has picked out 8 games that he is attacking on this Friday, December 11th card. Right now, it is 11:46 p.m., Thursday, December 10th. And Max, today, Friday's market came out very early, and moves have been made. Can you expand on that before we break down these games?
Yeah, today felt like the lines came out, I would say maybe like 2 or 3 hours earlier on like your major offshore openers and your Vegas openers. Definitely a lot of U-shaped movement on some games that I was targeting. I'll give you an example. I saw Circa open up St. John's and Seton Hall with Seton Hall's a 9.5-point favorite. That went apparently down all the way to 5 and then went back up to 7 or 7.5. So instances like that are just crazy. And like, then there was the West Virginia North Texas total that opened, I think, at 143.5, went all the way down to 138 in the matter of like 45 minutes to an hour. So there's been some crazy movement already today. And by the time I started getting alerts and notifications from my odds software, it was like literally too late. I was getting the ass end by 2 points or 2.5 points on 4 or 5 plays I want to make. As a volume degenerate, obviously I bet them, but I'm definitely going to have my ass clenched tomorrow and I'll definitely need a lot of Danishes and chicken tenders.
Well, it's interesting. It's very interesting, when we move with you and make moves with you and we study the games and we listen to how you break them down and make our own moves, because UNC Greensboro, you got in at minus 16.5. It went up to minus 21.5, and they lose outright to Coppin State. San Diego State, you got in at 4.5. It was available for me at plus 3, and I decided that wasn't enough for me and didn't pull the trigger. You got in on the total at 146.5. It was down to 142.5 when I could bet it this morning, and I didn't pull the trigger. I tailed 2 of your spots. I went on my own with one, but that was correlated with your ideas with the San Fran Dons, Long Beach State, full game over. That cashed very easily, but I did lose that Jackson State Ole Miss first half over. And how could we miss that over when Ole Miss goes for 40 plus in the first half? Ridiculous. But right now I'm 11-4, much smaller quantity of action for me, but all that matters is winning. So it feels very good to be up. Let's get right to work. Let's not sit here in this glorious situation that we found ourselves in. But let me add that Max is sitting here at 12. Sorry. Let me move this over here. Max is sitting here at 12-4. John Ryan went 4-1, which means our NCAA basketball experts are sitting at 16-5, and that could be 18-5 in a matter of minutes. Feels good to roll with you, gents.
Just to give you an update, Jim, that total's probably it's in ass clench mode. 7 minutes of both teams in the bonus. Both are in the 1-1 right now, but this easily can get out of hand. So I will try and stay on point and not get distracted by it. But yeah.
Well, I hear you. Both teams in the bonus is danger, and a 4-point swing is way. I'll not ever bet that. And Max getting the 146.5. I could have got it 142.5. I decided that wasn't enough. Max, let's get right to work and keep this glory train going. You start with early action, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, Northeastern at UMass. Tricky game that you've picked to attack. Both teams making their season debut. William D. Mullins Memorial Center in Amherst, Massachusetts. Massachusetts 6.5-point favorites, and that's at FanDuel right now, minus 108. Max will let us know if Massachusetts was in a better betting spot earlier today. This total sitting at 140.5. But looking at the players that these two teams are bringing back to this season, you have to think that UMass is in a nice spot. Northeastern was 17-16 last year, 9-9 in conference. Huskies returned just one of their top 5 scorers from last season. That includes losing first-team All-CAA selection Jordan Rowland. Tyson Walker returns after averaging 10.4 points, 3.4 assists as a freshman. So he's liable to take a step up, but UMass was 14-17 last year, 8-10 in conference. They returned their top 3 scorers from last season, led by last year's A-10 Rookie of the Year, Trey Mitchell, who averaged 17.7 points and 7.2 rebounds. What a beast. This feels like a UMass spot, but want to hear you break it down.
Yeah, Jim, I think that this is also a potential revenge spot for Northeastern. The issue is the guys that were able to keep Northeastern in the game last year are no longer around. I think that when you look at Tyson Walker, the reins are going to be given to him to run this offense and be the scoring guard that this program's been able to rely on year in, year out. The issue was last year, this particular UMass team was able to narrow in on him. They're able to close out on his shooting attempts, and they're able to keep him off the board. He only went 1 for 8 in the game. So there definitely is going to be some familiarity there. When you look at Northeastern, they're definitely a team in transition, but let's just pump the brakes there. This is a prestigious program, a program that plucks diamonds out of the rough on the regular, and they have an appreciation for fine Canadian hoopers. And they got 3 of them on the roster this year. They got Boucherville, Quebec's Jamal Telford, who's a 6'7" athletic swingman, can defend, hustle, The kid can play basketball. Let me tell you that. And then they got 2 Ontario kids. I think that both of them played at Orangeville. I may be wrong about that. But Alex Nagawa, 6'8", powerful kid, going to get on the glass. He's going to really be effective defensively, long wingspan. So definitely fits the Northeastern type of positionless defender that they're going to run out this year. And Coleman Stuckey, who, if he can work his way into the lineup, I think that this is a guy that can come in and he can just flat out score. So you bring in 3 nice Canadian recruits, under the radar guys that have performed very well in their programs here in Canada. And I think that they're going to be able to carry that on down to down south. There is going to be one transfer that is going to be very interesting to see what happens with him. Chris Doherty, he transferred from Notre Dame. So we'll see how he adjusts to playing and getting some time. But this was one of a highly heralded recruit that just never managed to make his way onto the court for Notre Dame. So from that perspective, Northeastern is very interesting, but from a number perspective, this is a game that easily could be a double-digit win for UMass. Like you said, Jim, Trey Mitchell, the most dominant big man in the A-10. And when they're not in A-10 play, I expect them to be quite formidable. I think that when you bring in a under-the-radar, hopefully X-Factor recruit in Javon Garcia, this is a 3-level scorer, a guy that's big, strong enough to withstand the pressures and physicality of playing in the A-10. This is a team that has size. They have rebounding. They have guys that have grown into the system. The one hole that they do have from last year is Sean East, and that's where Noah Fernandez, the Wichita State transfer, is going to have to play a big part. I can't remember who he's high school teammates with, but there is some sort of high school connection with Fernandez, and that's what brought him over. This game went over by 10 last year. I'm not thinking that it's going to be going over by 10 this year. At 140, this would be a number that I'd be looking at the under in, and I'd be looking at UMass first half and full game. I personally bet 6. I would take the 6.5 just because this line did open on Circa at 7.
Interesting. Very interesting. 6.5 at Bet365, 6.5 at FanDuel. Let's juice at FanDuel minus 108. We don't have the first halves out yet. Let me just ensure that that's the case. Yeah, we don't have the first halves out yet. And then we have 140 at Bet365, 140.5, but with 4 cents more juice at FanDuel. So let's first lock you in with UMass full game minus 6.5 at minus 108. A bet that makes a lot of sense to me, and I expect to be tailing as soon as this show is over because it's still available at the same price, just 2 cents more, minus 110 at Bet365. And would you like the under 140.5 at minus 114 or under 140 and minus 110?
For show record purposes, let's just keep it first half and full game on the spread.
Okay.
But for anybody that's itching to bet some unders and wants to summon their inner Noli knows, the master Jedi of unders, the man that teach and has taught me how to bet unders better, make that play. I'll be on it. So you can always message me on Twitter sweating it. Just don't sweat me.
I hate because we work late at night getting the videos out, and then some mornings I do radio really early, some I don't. So tomorrow morning I do radio very early, so I'll be up and able to get you a nice number on the first half if it's available, which I expect it to be. But this morning I wasn't up shopping for you till 9:30, and that cost you a unit. I wasn't able to get you Jacksonville full game. I was only able to get you them first half. And I thought the full game was the better look on Jacksonville, and that market kept moving, and I didn't even bet it, which cost me units. And I fear that some of these days I'm not going to be able to get you the best first half lines. Not tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning I'll be up bright and early shopping for you. First half, what is your limit?
I'm looking for a 3 or 3.5.
Okay.
Hopefully a little reverse line movement on this line overnight while you and I are sleeping. And then by the time you wake up to go on with one of Toronto sports radio's legends, Mike Richards, I think that you will be good and you will be able to get me a good number.
Perfect. All right. Max is in business. We've locked him into UMass full game -6.5, -108. Let me write FD for FanDuel. And he's looking for 3 or 3.5. That game pops off bright and early, especially for you guys on the West Coast. 10:30 a.m. for you guys on the West Coast. 1:30 p.m. Eastern for us on the East Coast. There we go. Then we move to 7 p.m. action. And on today's card, Max is hammering some of these marquee matchups. And Creighton Blue Jays are involved in one of them. Next up, 7 p.m. Eastern, Nebraska Cornhuskers, 3-2 on the season, 0-0 away. Yet to play a road game, 5 games at home in Lincoln, Nebraska. At number 8, Creighton Blue Jays, 3-1, 3-0 at home. The CHI Health Center, Omaha. In Omaha we go. This is Nebraska's first road game after playing their first 5 at home. They opened their season with an easy 102-55 win over McNeese State before losing 69-66 to Nevada. They followed that up with an easy win over North Dakota State and a tighter win over South Dakota, 75-64. They then had a game against Florida A&M canceled due to positive cases in the Rattlers program. Then had 8 days off, and you could tell. After 8 days off, they shot 37.7% from the field. They lose to Georgia Tech 75-64. That was just on Wednesday night. So that is your Nebraska Cornhuskers. Now we move. Oh, but as they shot 37.7%, Kobe Webster, 6 of 7 from 3, put up 20 points. So it was the rest of the team that let Nebraska down. After 3 easy home victories over North Dakota State, Omaha, and Kennesaw State, Creighton had their first challenge of the season and came up just short in a 73-72 loss at Kansas on Tuesday night. John Ryan got us on Creighton plus 3.5 or 4, depending on where you got it, and it cashed for us. And they almost won it. Very, very close. Missed foul shot late by Zagorowski that would have tied up the game. Creighton played well, beaten up on the glass. Jayhawks pulled down 13 offensive rebounds, turned them into 11 second chance points. Mahoney had 19, Zagorowski had 16. Both Bishop and Jefferson went for 13. This is a Creighton squad with depth. Nebraska, Creighton. The move over to the odds here. Creighton 14.5-point favorites at FanDuel. The total at 149.5. Max $1 million. Here we go. 7 p.m. Eastern. Take it away.
Let me tell you something, Jim, about Creighton basketball. They don't like Nebraska basketball. They think that they're punks, that they're cucks. Okay? I don't like Nebraska basketball. But I will say one thing, Jim. There are 2 guys I like on the team. And I think that you're going to know why. They got certain kind of passport, a Canadian passport. They like the maple syrup all over their pancakes, but dark maple syrup, because that's the better maple syrup. Delano Banton has done a fantastic job playing the point. Hopefully he will do a shit job playing the point because, let's be frank, his 3-point shot and his free throw shooting is shit. Shamil Stevenson finally getting his way back on the floor, involved in a stop at Nevada, a year off playing in the Nebraska system. Now he's out on the floor. He's putting in, I think he was averaging like 7.8 points per game. So shout out to my fellow Canadians. Keep on hooping. But when it comes to this Nebraska team, they got free throw issues. They got 3-point issues. Like you said, Jim, the only guy that's hitting threes is Kobe Webster. Kobe Webster's hitting 40% of those threes and 80% of his free throws. So the defense is going to have to narrow in on them. The bottom line with this Creighton team is Marcus let them down. Marcus will pick them up. You can bet your ass on that. Marcus Zagorowski missing that free throw, got iced by the Zebras, a.k.a. the refs. They should be back in the frickin' plains getting chased by lions instead of making calls and decisions like that to help a blue blood named Kansas. I think that Creighton comes out mad. I think that they come out fast. This is a team that does have fantastic complementary pieces to Marcus Zagorowski. Right now, they're very balanced. Christian Bishop is leading this team in scoring. Denzel Mahoney and Damian Jefferson are both showing why their names were in the hat to try and get drafted. I think that with their performance this year and what we're yet to see, they will solidify that very easily. Mitch Ballock's the one in a shooting slump. He's got to pick it up. They need his shooting. They need his cold-bloodedness. And from what I've seen the last couple years, I know it's coming. So waiting for him to explode. This could be the defense that you do it against. But when it comes to defense, Creighton's going to have to lock down 37% field goal defense against 3 cupcakes in Kansas. I think that there's a little credibility to that number, and I do think that they're going to be able to lock down on Nebraska. I think that when you look at this game, they got to win on the glass. They won +9 on the glass last year versus obviously a different roster, but I do think that they can box out on this very positionless Nebraska team with guys like Teddy Allen and Lat Mayen coming in from the junior college ranks. So Creighton's going to shoot 50% from the field. They're going to hit their free throws. They got to improve the three-point percentage. They got to win on the glass, like I said, and do a much better job on the O glass, because that's where Nebraska will be able to hurt them and keep this game close. I think that if you protect the ball from this aggressive style of defense and do not allow them to ball hawk you, I think that you keep them honest. And the best way to do that is move it from side to side and drilling threes and making that defense play honestly. I think that they'll do that. I think that the first half will be a very good indicator. I look to back them in the first half at anything under 10. So I think that Creighton's going to win this game. And I think that in the end, it may get closer than it looks just based on the box score. And forgive me, I just want to pull up a line from one of our friends, Aunt L, a diehard Creighton basketball fan. Where is this line that he said? He's going to be in rural Nebraska tomorrow, and he's going to be rocking his Creighton gear. But Creighton's going to build a 25-point lead. They're going to coast in the last 3 minutes. Nebraska's going to end the game on an 8-0 run, and they're going to end up losing by 15 or 14. So I think that's what's going to happen. I agree with Ant there. Creighton's not going to take Nebraska lightly. I think that this is a game that you can easily get on full game at 14. And I think that at either like 7.5 to 9.5, you're going to get very good value on a first half with Creighton. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm sold. I think it's a great look. Creighton first half, get in as early as possible, as soon as the line comes out, because I think this balloons. I love it. All right. First half -10 or better for Max. We move on to more 7 p.m. Eastern, and this is another marquee matchup. Number 9 ranked Villanova Wildcats 4-1 at Georgetown Hoyas 2-2, and we enter conference play at McDonough Arena in Washington, D.C. Of course, they're not at the Verizon Center. I believe it's the Verizon Center at downtown Washington, just in the McDonough Arena. No reason to play in the big barn with no fans. Both teams had very different experiences in conference play last season. Villanova 13-5 in conference play. Georgetown just 5-13. Let's see what market we have here. There we go. We have Villanova as 11.5-point road favorites, and this total at 142.5. Villanova enters conference play 4-1. Their only blemish, an 81-73 overtime loss versus Virginia Tech. They're hitting 47.3% from the field. They're led by 6'9" sophomore Jeremiah Robinson Earl, averaging 16.2 points, 9.9 boards. They also have 3 guards averaging double digits in Colin Gillespie, Justin Moore, and Caleb Daniels. They take care of the ball. This Nova offense has a turnover on 13.2% of its possessions, 12th lowest rate in the nation. Georgetown bounced back from back-to-back losses to Navy and West Virginia by destroying Coppin State 80-48 on Tuesday night. They're led by senior guard Javon Blair, who's averaging 20.3 points per game, and 6'9" senior forward Jamorko Pickett, who's averaging 14.3 points and 10 boards a game. Here we go. home dog plus 11.5 in the Georgetown Hoyas. Max, take it away.
Yeah, Jim, first off, unfortunately, that Arizona State game landed on 148. So a little bit of a heartbreaking loss there while we're doing the show, but they did win the game by 12. So not as fancy as I thought it was going to be, but it is what it is. That's gambling. On to the Villanova-Georgetown game. Let me put it like this. Villanova's had problems beating Georgetown by margin in their building, on the road in general. At home, not so much issues. With this Nova team this year, the issue is, do they have the depth to go at you? Can they play a team that's going to really try and force you to foul or to get out of the way? I think that with this Georgetown team, they shoot the three well enough that they can go inside and out and keep you off balance. The way that they played West Virginia is going to be the same type of game and effort that they're going to need in this game tomorrow. With Villanova, the thing is going to be, can they do anything if the jump shot isn't dropping? They do have guys that can get to the rim. You mentioned them. Caleb Daniels, the Tulane transfer, has done a good job of adjusting. And Justin Moore, usually the forgotten asset, resource, but a solid contributor. Pretty much in this game, it's going to come down to what you get out of Jeremiah Robinson Earl. From a number perspective, you probably are going to looking at Georgetown full game at plus 11.5 or better. At this point, I think that you're going to get better, so I'm not jumping the gun on Georgetown full game, but I do expect this line to balloon up to 13.5 or 14 by game time, and I would jump on it then. I think that Georgetown needs as many points as they can in this game. I think that what you get from guys like what you get from guys like Donald Kara, the Siena transfer, Jalen Harris, the Arkansas transfer, is going to be imperative. You need everybody contributing for Georgetown. Everybody's got to have a decent game, and if you're not scoring, you better be hustling, getting on the glass, and trying to get those second chance opportunities, because you're going to have a size advantage, you're going to have an offensive rebound advantage. You got to just do two things: chase Villanova off the three-point line, and don't put them on the free throw line without making them earn it. They're going to get to the free throw line, but don't give them these ticky-tack fouls that they're going to be able to go for and ones on. You dominate the glass, and you stay close. 12 offensive rebounds a game. That's what you need. Georgetown first half is probably a play that I like the most. I think that if they're going to have a chance in this game, it's going to be in the first half without any halftime adjustments. There are some different pieces for both these teams, so there will be question marks and adjustments that teams have to make at halftime. But what Georgetown has shown this year, and I think that this is a valid number once again, is that they are better in the first half if they can limit their turnovers, which they're averaging 18 a game. On the other side, if you're looking to add on and stack on, you grab Villanova at the half, whatever they are live, because chances are they're coming out with fire and putting up at least 40. So in this spot, Jim, I'm looking for a better number on Georgetown, and I'm looking for a better number in the first half. So if I can get somewhere between 7.5 and 9.5 on the first half on Georgetown, I'll like that, but that will take some serious movement overnight on the spread. And as of right now, I haven't seen that.
That makes sense. I'll be in touch with you tomorrow, and we'll decide in the in the morning how long we want to wait, and if we think that the market is moving in the right direction to get you the number that you're looking for. Georgetown first half is what Max wants, between plus 7.5 and plus 9.5. And again, another move for you here on this card that makes a ton of sense. We move on to another game. These are all picked by Max. This is what he's attacking on Friday, December 11th, and we've just reached Friday, December 11th. We're shooting this the night before to give you guys the most amount of time to get ahead of the market. Iona Gaels at Fairfield Stags. Iona Gaels 1-2 on the season at the Fairfield Stags. We are in the MAAC, and both teams start conference play. Webster Bank Arena, Bridgeport, Connecticut. After winning at Hofstra 82-74, Iona was unable to make it 2 straight when they lost at home to Morgan State 83-72 as 8.5-point favorites on Tuesday night. They opened up down 14-2. They turned the ball over 18 times. They're led by senior guard Isaiah Ross, who's averaging 22.7 points per game. He mailed it in. He went for 12 points in the loss after giant games to open up his season. It was a shocking loss. Let's see what we are dealing with here from a market perspective. Iona is 3.5-point favorites on the road. Let's talk about Fairfield, because we've talked about them quite a bit with Maac. They've opened up with 4 straight losses, with 2 of them coming at the hands of Hartford. Both of those games, Maac broke it down on the show why he was on Hartford, and he cashed on both of those games. So they lost their second to Hartford on the road, 67-54 on Monday evening. They get no distribution whatsoever. They're averaging 7 assists per game. They're scoring 60 points per game. This total sitting at 135.5, and Fairfield are 3.5-point home dogs. Maxwell Smart, take it away. Iona, Fairfield.
Yeah, Jim. I'm a little pissed that you just said 3.5 because when we started the show, filming the show, it was 2.5.
Really?
So obviously this line is getting steamed. Sign me up on the 3.5 for the show. Plain and simply, this is a team that you just got to dive in with. Iona's in a situational rebound spot. They're in a style and tempo advantage. That's very clear. And the main question for them is, how are they going to facilitate the offense? Is Asante Gist recovered enough from the pinky injury and playing the 6 minutes against Morgan State to come into the lineup, run this offense, and produce the way that we're all expecting them to? I think that this is a game to do so. You're playing a team that struggles to get to 60 points. You're talking about a team that doesn't have the personnel that wants to up the tempo, but doesn't have the talent or skill to do so, at least from what I've seen and watched. And I've watched a good deal of these Fairfield games. When Iona's coming off that Morgan State loss, that was a very bad loss for them. They just couldn't stop the 3-point shot. They kept on putting Morgan State on the line. The turnovers were obviously an issue. And I think that with a less stout defense in Fairfield, they're going to have a little more success. They're not going to have to worry about someone facing up Isaiah Ross. So he's going to get his offense. And then Berg Jean-Louis, you know what? The guy's a high-flying dunker. Get to the rim, and get to the rim. Most guys want to get out of the way. They don't want to get posterized. So this is an Iona team that does a good job making their free throws, but they got to get to the free throw line more. Hold Fairfield to under 16. You're going to win this game by margin. You need a fast start. That's what you need. That's going to be the key in this game. That's where I'll be looking to attack as well. I'll be looking at a first half. I'll be looking at a full game with Iona. When I think about what this Iona team, personnel-wise, that I've seen with my own eyes, I've watched them now against Seton Hall. I've watched them now against Morgan State. I think that Nelly Joseph is going to play a big factor tomorrow. And I think that if you get Asante Gist back in the lineup, I think that this is a very stressless wire-to-wire win.
Well, unfortunately, it's a 3.5. But the juice is low, minus 104 at FanDuel. It's minus 115 at Bet365. So we'll get you that minus 3.5, minus 104 at FanDuel. And what is your limit for first half?
Probably 2.5.
All right. Iona Gaels, a very disappointing loss on Tuesday night to Morgan State, 8.5-point favorites. Bouncing back here is what Maac sees at Fairfield, a team with no distribution, slows down the pace. Interesting breakdown. Max, this total at 135.5. We have a clash of two completely different styles. Do you have any feel on whether you'd go over or under it?
Oh, I bet the under, Jim. I bet it at 136.5. It
Okay.
was one of the first bets I made. I think that this is a game where you see Fairfield struggle to get to 60, and Iona does the rest. So this could very easily be a 75-55 type game.
But you're not interested in making that official here.
Listen, I'm definitely about making lots of plays on the show official. I just have to think about what the highest percentage is.
No, I feel you. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. There is your 7 p.m. action, and that's a bow on your 7 p.m. action. Max is on Iona full game -3.5 at -104. That's available at FanDuel as we speak, 12:18 a.m. on Friday, December 11th. He's also given a limit of 2.5 on the first half. And we move on to 8 p.m. Eastern action. Milwaukee Panthers making their season debut at Kansas State Wildcats. I was happy you picked this game. There's wild stories going on in this game. Kansas State is sitting as 9.5-point favorites, and I almost laugh after what they just did to imagine that they could still be 9.5-point favorites after their last game. This total sitting at 134.5. We're at Bramlage Coliseum, Manhattan, Kansas. Milwaukee was last seen. We'll start with Milwaukee. That's a comfortable place to start here because Kansas State, what a mess. Milwaukee was just 12-19 last year, 7-11 in the horizon. They lost 2 of their top 4 scorers from last season. Senior guard Tejan Lucas returns after averaging 14.6 points per game. He's going to be the focal point of the offense. Kansas State is coming off a shocking 81-68 loss at home to Div 2 Fort Hays State on Wednesday night. Fort Hays was 0-3 against Div 2 opponents. They were also missing their head coach and assistant coach due to COVID. This is nuts. Senior guard Mike McGurl, 15.2 points per game. At least he tried on Wednesday night. He put up 22 points. It wasn't on him. He gave all-out effort. This Kansas State Wildcats team is embarrassed. There are so many moving parts in this game, Max. And when you picked it as a spot you were going to attack, it piqued my interest. Take it away. Milwaukee Panthers, Kansas State Wildcats.
Yeah, Jim, this is a real messed up line. I think that that's the only way you can look at it and describe it. With the situation that Kansas State is in, you like to say, yeah, it's a situational rebound spot. Da 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 da. No, it's not. This is not a normal comeback from a bad performance type game. This is some fundamental and talent issues. And I can only blame it on one thing, Jim. They're not playing Rudy Williams from Hamilton enough. Rudy Williams from Northeastern Oklahoma Community College. He should be the starting point guard. You give him the keys to the engine, Kansas State doesn't lose to D2 teams. I'll tell you that right now. That may be what I just said may be absolute false and nonsense and rubbish, but I believe it, so whatever. With this K-State team, plain and simply, they're getting killed in the second halves. Cannot trust them. If you're looking to make a live play or a second half play, K-State is the one to bet against. When I saw 10 or 11 points, what did I see on the opener on this game? I saw 10. I was like, oh, I can't wait till this line comes out. I'm going to bet on Milwaukee. And let's be frank here. Milwaukee's no walk in the park, no cupcake. They're no chicken tender with honey. They're a chicken tender with dill pickle sauce, okay?
Oh, no.
Yeah, disgusting, Jim. Disgusting. They do have some talent coming in. Obviously, Vin Baker's kid should be able to play like Vin Baker in a sense. Maybe some sentimental minutes will get divvied out to him and he'll be able to give some unexpected production. But I'm definitely looking at Tafari Sims, the junior college transfer, to come in and score the basketball for this Milwaukee team. They're going to need guys that can penetrate the rim, get to the free throw line, make 70% of them. And I think in this game, ordinarily be like, well, this is a team that's had COVID. This is a team that's had COVID stoppages. they're probably going to be a disadvantage. Well, in this matchup, you got to throw that out the window and be like, do you trust K-State to bet your money on? I sure as hell don't. I'm taking Milwaukee +9 if I can get them full game. And I like the under full game also in this game. I think that the first half is going to tell you a lot of what you're going to get. And then if you see K-State actually showing up and trying to win a game by the line maker's suggestion, well, then you can just message me and send me a picture of a pile of bear scat.
Scat.
Because bear scat's different colors, Jim. It's all about what the bear's eating. When they're eating berries, it comes out purple. It's not really that gross.
I'd like to go camping with you, Max. Panthers.
Well, you don't want to see a bear when you're camping. That's the worst thing can happen.
No matter if it's purple shit, you're not like, ooh, let's make a fire.
Yeah, no. If you see bear scat near your campsite, you should probably move your campsite.
My friend, great comedian Erwin Barker, told me that the bear poo makes great cup holders. Yeah, if you're Milwaukee Panthers +9.5 -110, under 134.5 and -110. Both these bets make a lot of sense, Max. Let's keep rolling. We stay 8 p.m. Eastern, and the MAAC Niagara Purple Eagles 0-1 on the season at St. Peter's Peacocks, sitting at 2-2. Let's see if I can pull up a number for us. Nothing at FanDuel. And Bet365 is giving us St. Peter's as 9-point favorites. This total at 134.5. Again, for those of you watching for the first time, Max can only make official legal licensed books in America, which adds another twist, another level of difficulty for his official record. We're at the Anatelli Center, Jersey City, New Jersey. After a 12-20 season, 9-11 in conference, Niagara got off to an ugly start. 75-45 loss at Syracuse. They were 17-point dogs. You know, they didn't come in with a ton of hope, but they were destroyed. They shot 27.7% from the field, 16.7% from three. They were out-rebounded 51-32. Their leading scorer, Marcus Hammond, scored 8 points on 3 of 13 shooting. The only positive thing you can say about the game was at least Marcus Hammond went after his misses, picked up 10 boards. After a tight 76-75 loss at St. John's, St. Peter's won 2 straight over LaSalle and Stony Brook. They were feeling good about themselves. They go into Maryland. It was a makeup situation due to COVID issues, a makeup game, and they got pummeled, 90-57. They opened their season with nice shooting performances, but shot just 32.3% from the field in their 33-point loss to Maryland. A wake-up call for the Peacocks. Max, Niagara, St. Peter's, let's roll.
Yeah, I hope that Niagara can defend more often on more possessions than they did against Syracuse. Plain and simple truth is you're in a buy low spot with this game and with this line. When I look at Niagara, this is a team that I thought that was going to be on the rise when it comes to the Metro Atlantic Conference, and I still think that. I think that they just went up against a tough defense, a team with a lot of length, and that knew how to play their defense. With Rasheed Solomon and Justin Roberts, you have 2 capable other scoring guards who both do it at different levels to assist Marcus Hammond, who is going to be an all-MAC type player this year. I think that not going up against the zone, not going up against the length that Syracuse had in the front court is going to be beneficial. They just need less turnovers and they need more rim protection. So what I observed in the Syracuse game, especially in the second half, was I thought Niagara just gave up. I think that hopefully they got coached well by Coach Paulus. And they're going to freaking man up in this game and bring a better effort, because if you can't lock down on defense, it doesn't matter how good your shooting is, you're still going to lose games. Last year, both these games stayed under by 13.5 and 20 points. But it is important to know that so far in St. Peter's season, out of their 4 games, they've gone over 3 out of 4, and they've gone over by 5.4 points per game. So there is selling points on total opportunity. But seeing that they're 3-1, knowing that's a known stat and a known trend, if you will, I would still be looking at the under in this game. Not enough that I'm going to make it a bet for the show's pick record. I will definitely be on it because I'm a degenerate. But I will take Niagara +9. I do think that Niagara presents a bigger problem than Stony Brook. And I do think that they also present a bigger challenge than LaSalle did. When I think about Niagara, Niagara can move the ball from side to side. They can get inside and out. They're not afraid to penetrate and try and get to the free throw line. And they're not afraid to muck up the game and try and limit possessions and work the clock. I think that this guard-oriented Niagara team has to just get a better start. They need a good start against St. Peter's. And St. Peter's, you know what? They looked really shitty in their last game. Casey Nadafo was terrible. His offensive game was pathetic. I was like, is this guy even a D1 player? And he's supposed to be an all Maac type defender. So another issue with St. Peter's is, do you trust Hassan Drami to not turn the ball over the way that he has? I don't. I think that this is a team that's shown that they have some real fundamental issues when it comes to careless passing, when it comes to silly fouls, when it comes to things like stepping on the end line, when it comes to things like having the ball been bounced off your leg. Like, you got to be aware of that. Use that athleticism. Get out of the way. Come on. Obviously, as someone watching from afar, I can judge, and as an athlete, it's probably easier said than done. But when it comes to this number, Jim, 9 points is a generous number. I think it's a little high. I'll take them full game. And for anybody that cares, I'm going to be on the under, and I'm going to think that St. Peter's is going to revert back to the quality defense they played in conference last year. And Niagara's actually going to defend for the whole game and not give up.
I love it. Just putting in my notes that you're also on the under, but just not officially.
Yes, sir.
My own personal action. Okay, there we go. Niagara Purple Eagles +9 at -110 available right now at Bet365. We move on. We have 2 games left on this card. Max picked out all of these games and 2 very interesting spots. Let's go. Let's hammer. 9 p.m. Eastern. Nevada Wolfpack 4-1 on the season, 1-0 on the road at Grand Canyon Antelopes. 3-0 at home. We're at GCU Arena in Phoenix, Arizona. See what we are dealing with at FanDuel. We have Grand Canyon as 2.5-point dogs. That comes juiced at -114, and the total is sitting at 139.5. Let's start with Nevada. Bounced back from a 25-point loss to San Francisco by beating NAIA William Jessup 86-64. It's very tricky to judge some of these games against these lower divisional opponents. They're led by guard Grant Sherfield, averaging 16.4 points, 4.8 assists, 4.2 rebounds. He does everything. Grand Canyon has come out of the gate hot. They've hammered Grambling State, Div 2 Benedictine, and Mississippi Valley State by an average of 28.3 points. They're hitting 51.8% from the field. They're getting 17.3 assists per game. They're led by 2 bigs, 2 Euro stars, Max. 6'10" Italian center Alessandro Oliver and 7', 270-pound Dane Asbjorn Midtgaard, who's averaging 14.3 points, 12 rebounds a game. From a capping perspective, if they're playing a smaller team, they're going to eat them up for dinner. I'm very interested in how you're going to break down their first real test of the season. Nevada Wolfpack coming to Phoenix, Arizona. Take it away.
Jim, you know how I feel as a short person about overly tall people. And these people, they're overly tall. So you know what I'll ask them to do? is go to that top shelf and grab that item for me off
Sure.
it and pass it down and get the goddamn hell out of my way. Let me tell you something about the big men for Grand Canyon. Yes, on paper, they've dominated. They've looked good, but they played cupcakes. Grambling had no freaking size. Mississippi Valley State had no size. Well, now they're going up against a team with KJ Hines, with Warren Washington, with Zane Meeks. They're not going to be able to throw their weight around in the same fashion that they were able to so far this season. And also, Jim, let's not forget, Grand Canyon is fantastic because of that home environment, because of that raucous crowd, because of those crazies that rival every Cameron indoor crazy. They won't have that. They got a new coach in Bryce Drew. Dan Marley's out. He's getting a tan. He's drinking some red wine. He's probably partying with the lady of the night, more expensive than I can afford, but he deserves it. He's Dan Marley.
Sure.
But in this game, from a capping perspective, Nevada's going to win this game. Nevada's going to keep this game under. Grand Canyon is suffering when it comes to backcourt scoring. Oscar Freire, Mikey Dixon, my fellow Canadian, your fellow Canadian, Sean Miller-Moore, just haven't been doing it all. They need support for Javon Blackshear. He's running the point. He's facilitating the offense. I think that when he goes up against Grant Sherfield, he's going to be at a disadvantage. Size-wise, speed-wise, length-wise. Then Des Cambridge, you know what? He's an Ivy Leaguer. You know how I feel about Ivy Leaguers? I don't like them, but they're good to do your taxes. But Desmond, he better freaking bring the offense because the 3-point's been sort of on, sort of off. The free throw shooting has been less than desirable. And I think that when you look at this Nevada team, it's going to be Zane Meeks time. Zane Meeks. Kid's a fucking 3-point shooter. Steve Alford's a moron of a coach, disrespecting them, not giving them 35 minutes a game. Give me more Zane Meeks, and Nevada will win and cover, I'll tell you that. This Nevada team's going to lock down Grand Canyon's backcourt. I think that with their 29% 3-point defense, I think that it's an accurate number. Just make sure that you don't put these mother beepers on the line and hack their big guys if you have to. This is a team in Grand Canyon that doesn't shoot the three well. They don't hit free throws. The way that they score is by going to the rim and using their size. In this matchup, it will not happen. Nevada wins. They win by a couple buckets. The game stays under 140.
Max, as we were talking, we have a change here in the odds. We have Nevada, while we were talking, minus 2.5 is now minus 1.5 at FanDuel.
Oh,
that
works for me.
But that comes with minus 114 juice. Is that worth the money? Because at Bet365, you can have minus 2.5 and minus 105.
I will say that the 1.5 at the juice is because I just watched and lost on Florida State against Indiana. So, yeah, I won't be repeating that mistake anytime soon.
All right. Minus 1.5 and minus 114 at FanDuel. And you want the under. This is another market that's moving quickly. So it's available under 140 at minus 115 at Bet365. Oh, God. Obviously, we're going to take that. Under 139.5 is minus 114.
Yep. Give me the under 140 minus 115.
All right. Let's lock that in.
I hate that juice, but you know what? Sometimes they just milk you, and especially on some of these fantastic American legal books that discriminate against me because I'm a Canadian.
Under 140 at minus 115. That's available at Bet365. So Max is on the Nevada Wolfpack minus 1.5 and minus 114. It's available at FanDuel. He's also on the under 140 at minus 115, available at Bet365. This pops off at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we have a beauty to finish off Max's card. 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Marquette Golden Eagles, 4-1 on the season at the UCLA Bruins, 4-1 on the season, 3-0 at home. We have UCLA at FanDuel right now as 4.5-point favorites. This total sitting at 140.5. Pauley Pavilion, Los Angeles, California. Marquette bounced back from their lone loss on the season when they turned the ball over 24 times in a 70-62 loss at home to Oklahoma State. They bounced back by squeaking past Wisconsin 67-65 and then beating Green Bay 82-68. They're led by our Toronto boy, 6'4" senior guard, Kobe McEwen, scoring 16.6 points per game. They have multiple players that bang the boards. Big part of their game is how many guys get up on the glass. They're led by 6'9" senior Theo John. UCLA has won 4 straight against questionable competition since opening their season with a 73-58 loss at San Diego. Now, we just got a little taste of how good San Diego State Aztecs are tonight. Max was on them. They defeated – what was the final score against the – they defeated Arizona State 80-68 on the road as dogs. So we know this is a real deal whom they lost to open up their season. But 4 straight against questionable competition, they've won. They're hitting 48.5% from the field. They're getting 17.2 assists per game. 6.8 of those assists come from guard Tiger Campbell, who also scores 14.2 points per game. Put the rock in his hand. Here we go, Max. Marquette, UCLA, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Your last game on the card. UCLA, 4.5-point home favorites. Take it away.
Yeah, Jim, listen, I made an exception for the show for you because you're my friend. I hate the Pac-12.
No, you do.
I hate the Pac-12. I hate the Pac-12. But I love value, and I trust my numbers, and I trust my lines because I work all goddamn year on them. So I'll tell you this, Jim. Marquette's going to California, and they're coming out with a goddamn win. Steve Wojciechowski, you know what he realized when Marcus Howard graduated and decided to join the ranks of the NBA? He's like, I can bring in guys that fit my system. I can mold them to be defensive freaking firemen that just rescue teams. And that's what he's trying to do right now. He's going up against a coach on the other side that he's going to be able to outfox offensively from in-game decisions and set play perspective. When you look at this Marquette team, it's just the most talented Marquette team that been there in a while since Jimmy Butler days. Ooh. So when I look at this Marquette team, they can really call their own shot. The way that they played in that Wisconsin game was just goddamn eye-opening. I like the fact that they got a good balance of youth and experience with Theo John and Dawson Garcia. Dawson Garcia is the key in this game. If he can go off for anywhere close to 15 points and give you freaking 30 minutes on the floor, productive minutes, you're going to win this game outright. You're not just going to cover the 4.5. DJ Carton, the former Ohio State Buckeye, with the emotional depression problems, he's a sensitive one. Well, he's gone over those sensitivity issues, and he's ready to play basketball. And I can guarantee you on national television, in the beautiful confines of the pavilion, they will go after UCLA. They will press the issue. They will make them score. And they will finally have someone that is formidable enough on the glass like UCLA. I think that when you look at this team, they got to either make their threes or forget about them. They got to get to the free throw line where I trust them to make their free throws 1 through 5. Well, actually, no, 1 through 4. I don't trust Theo John to do shit. But he almost punched somebody in the face in the last game. So glad that he didn't do that. He would have been suspended. That would have taken me off of it. When I look at this UCLA team, they're very even when you look at Marquette from a number perspective-wise. But I do think that Marquette does play the better defense. They will be able to outduel UCLA on the glass because in games that they have won and dominated, that's what they have done. I think that playing cupcakes like Seattle and San Diego definitely give the average Joe betting public the perception. But I do think that this is a Marquette team that is defense first, offense second. And in that case, when you can score and you can lock down, you're going to win a lot of games. I think that this is a game where they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're being disrespected by the line. I would have had this closer to -2 for UCLA. So you got 2.5 points of value at 4.5. That is enough for me. Put me on the board. Let's go. Sign me up.
Marquette Golden Eagles plus 4.5 at -110 at FanDuel. To complete Max's card for now. As you know, there's a bunch of first halves he's going to want to jump on that we've gone over in this show, and we'll go over again right away.
And there's one more also.
What's that?
This one. This particular game, Jim. You know why? Because Marquette bangs out in the first half. They're averaging close to 40. They're not allowing teams to score even close. They're a little close to 30. It's like 27.8. Yeah, UCLA is going to be in trouble if they don't get off to a good start. I think Marquette can win this first half outright. So I'll take the points to be safe and for the show records virginity, I guess you call it. Not going to get all wild with it. Fleshlight style, but I definitely think that UCLA on the first half. I definitely think that Marquette on the first half is going to have value tomorrow when that pops up. So you're going to have to look for that lineup as well.
What is your limit?
I would say probably 3 or 3.5. Anything. No, excuse me. 1.5 to 3.5. That would be the line I'm looking for.
1.5.
So this line will probably come out at like 2.5. I would take that right away.
When I will do that for you because I'll be up bright and early. Max, you're running hot. You're running hot right now. We did go 1-1 on the last two games on the card. Let me just pop this into your record. So you cash San Diego State plus 4.5. You lose the under, so that loses minus 1.10 units. So you are sitting 40-36 plus 0.6 units on the year. But this week you are 13 wins, 5 losses, plus 7.5 units. Looking good. Let's keep it rolling. Let's review Max's action here. We start at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. He's on UMass full game, minus 6.5 at minus 108. Max, interrupt me if I've done anything wrong throughout this. That's at FanDuel. You want a first half between -3 or minus 3.5. Move to 7 p.m. You want Creighton Blue Jays first half at minus 10 or better.
Yep.
Villanova Wildcats at Georgetown Hoyas. You want the Hoyas first half plus 7.5 to 9.5. And that's going to require a lot of people betting on Villanova because right now Georgetown's sitting at plus 11.5. Let's see if that's changed in the hour that we've done our show. Possible change here. So let me just – be nice to see a little movement. And no, it still is 11.5. So that's going to require action on Villanova, but I don't doubt that happens. I think that's a very interesting look that I'd like to be a part of. Iona Gaels, for full game minus 3.5. Your limit on first half is 2.5. You're on the Milwaukee Panthers. I have plus 9.5 here. Why do I think it was plus 9? No, plus 9.5. And minus 110 plus 9.5. It's minus 105 at Bet365. So I didn't do your proper line shopping. Let me do that for you now. Minus 105, and that's at Bet365. Okay. And you're also on the under 134.5 at minus 110. You're on the Niagara Purple Eagles plus 9 at minus 110. That's available at Bet365. It's not up on the board at FanDuel yet. You're also on the under, not officially here for record keeping, but personally, Nevada Wolfpack -1.5 at -114 available at FanDuel. You're also on the under 140 at -115 at Bet365. That's against the Antelopes. Then late game, you're on the Marquette Golden Eagles +4.5 -110 at FanDuel. You also are very interested in them in the first half, between +1.5 and +3.5. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Max, my man, it is a treat to roll with you. It's just from like your friend and fan perspective. It's wild keeping your records and watching your highs and lows and seeing how seeing how you succeed. And it's very, very enjoyable. You're on a 13-5 week +7.5 units. You move back into the black. You started the week down 6.9 units. You're back in the black, baby. Stay there and rise, my man. I want to watch you rise. And it also helps put money in my bank too. So it's, I'm not gonna lie, but it's not just a fan perspective. It's my family, my family. Okay, Max, what a treat. I don't see you again until Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
For Sunday action. And you love Sunday action. Do you mind expanding on why you love Sunday action during the NFL season so much?
Yeah, I think that it's a pretty simple theory. Less eyes, less people putting big money on college basketball, and we know that money moves lines. So I'm not really concerned with ticket count or any of that kind of stuff because that can be manipulated. But when you see a line move, you know that someone put a bet on it, and that's why that line's getting moved. So with the NFL on, people love to bet the NFL, so it keeps at least the mid-major, low-major game markets pretty honest. And the lines are there for longer. The lines are beatable for longer. And it's all about finding value. So picking a day like that is going to be beneficial, hopefully, to us based on the popularity of the NFL.
I love it. Yeah. I love it, Max. Thank you so much for sharing your hard work and insights with us. Follow our man on Twitter at CBMS420. Max, stay hot, baby. Any last words for these great cappers watching the show, supporting us, and following your action?
Yeah, listen, I'm a real asshole sometimes on Twitter, so you gotta forgive me for that. But I really appreciate the views, the patronage, the clicks to the odds.com website to watch the show. Keep on doing that. I'll keep on coming back. I'll keep on throwing because shooters shoot, and my arm isn't getting tired anytime soon. And Jim, just for your own personal information, you can come look at my personal bet spreadsheet, and that will literally knock your socks off.
I love it. I love it. On behalf of Maxwell Smart and myself, thank you guys so much for your support at odds.com. Check out odds.com as much as possible. It allows us to do these shows as much as possible. Max, great work. Can't wait to see how you roll on Friday, December 11th. Thanks for watching. Get paid in full.